So in this video, we're going to talk about a specific type of AI tool that has genuinely changed how I think about my own productivity. I recently worked out that I was spending at least 5 hours every single week doing the most boring, repetitive tasks imaginable inside my web browser. Copying data from one tab, pasting it into another, filling out the same forms, sifting through endless pages of search results. It was this sort of digital death by 1,000 clicks. And 5 hours a week, that adds up. That's over 250 hours a year. That is time that could be spent on absolutely anything else. But what if a robot could just do it for you? Now, before we go on, I want to be super clear. The tool I'm about to describe, which I'm calling Nano Browser for this video, is a bit of a fictional concept. It's a combination of the best features I've seen in a new wave of AI automation tools. Some of these are getting really close to this ideal, but I wanted to paint a picture of what the perfect version of this technology looks like and how you can start using the real tools that are out there today to get pretty close. So stick around and I'll show you what the future of browsing looks like. Let's be real, we all have those browser tasks we absolutely dread. For me, it was a few specific things that were a massive source of friction. First, market research. I like to keep an eye on competitors, which meant I'd have to open a dozen tabs, find their pricing pages, check their latest blogs, and then manually compile all of that into a report. It was so tedious that I just put it off for weeks. Second was the endless hunt for inspiration. You know how it is. Whether it's for a new project, a new recipe, or just a new idea, I'd find myself down a rabbit hole of opening link after link, saving images, taking notes, only to end up with a complete mess of bookmarks and screenshots that I could never make sense of later. And finally, just trying to manage the sheer volume of information. Staying on top of the latest news in my industry felt like trying to drink from a fire hose. I'd have dozens of tabs open, promising myself I'd get back to them, but they'd just sit there, slowing down my computer and my brain. So the question is, what could you do with all that time and mental energy back? What if you could just your browser what you wanted and it did all the clicking and thinking for you? That brings us to this idea of an AI browser co-pilot. The concept I'm calling Nano Browser is essentially a browser extension that would act as a true AI assistant right inside your browser. And the most important feature for me would be that it's private. Unlike a lot of services that send your data to the cloud, the ideal version of this tool does everything locally. Your logins, your history, your API keys, they all stay with you. Now, you'd connect it to your own large language model API keys. This means you only pay for what you actually use, which can be incredibly cheap or even free, depending on the provider's free tier. But here's the thing that makes this more than just a simple macro. The ideal tool is a sophisticated multi-agent system. It would have different AI agents that work together to understand your command, plan the steps, navigate the web, and even check that the task was done right. It's like having a tiny dedicated team of researchers working for you 24/7. Alright, so if this tool existed, how would it work? I promise the ideal setup would take less than 3 minutes. First, you'd install it from the Chrome Web Store. Once it's installed, you'd pin it to your toolbar for easy access. You'd click the icon and a sidebar would open up. This is your command center. From here, you give the AI its instructions and watch it work in real time. But before you can do anything, you have to give it a brain. You'd click on the settings icon, and this is where the magic happens. You'd connect the tool to a large language model, or LLM. You'd have options for multiple providers, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google Gemini, and this is the game changer for privacy, local models through Ollama. If you don't have an API key, they're easy to get. For example, Google's AI Studio usually has a generous free tier to get started. You just copy a key and paste it in. It's worth remembering that if you use a cloud-based model from OpenAI or Google, your data is being sent to their servers. For true privacy, running a local model is the only way. Now here's where the ideal tool gets really interesting. Remember that multi-agent system? you could actually assign different AI models to different agents. For instance, you could use a powerful smart model like GPT-4 or Gemini 2.5 Pro for the planner agent that needs to think, but a faster, cheaper model for the navigator agent that's just clicking buttons. This level of control is what makes it so powerful for optimizing both performance and cost. Let's start with something simple. In the chat box, I type, go to ArcSIF and find the top 5 newest papers on multi-agent AI systems. Now, watch. The planner agent would break down the request. 1. Go to arcsif.org. 2. Find the search bar. 3. Type the query. 4. Find the newest papers. 5. Extract the titles. Then the navigator agent takes over and physically controls the browser, executing each step. It's doing everything I would have done, but faster. A few seconds later, the results are presented neatly in the chat window. No more manual searching. That's the basic power. Okay, that was a nice warm-up. But let's solve my market research problem. I'm going to give it a much more complex command. Here's the prompt. Go to Product Hunt, find the top 5 highest voted products in the AI category this week. For each product, get its name, website, and tagline. Then, go to each product's website, find the pricing page, and extract the price of their cheapest paid plan. Finally, compile all this into a markdown table. This would have taken me at least an hour of mind-numbing work. Now let's see what our ideal AI would do. The planner creates a complex, multi-stage plan. It knows it has to perform a search, then loop through the results. In each loop, it has to navigate to a new URL, find a pricing link, extract text, and then return. It would even be self-correcting. If it can't find the pricing link, the validator agent flags it, and the planner might tell the navigator to try searching the site's footer instead. It's methodically visiting each site, grabbing the details and structuring the data, and in about 2 minutes it's done. A perfectly formatted markdown table with all the data. Name, website, tagline, price. That's the sort of thing that just makes you go, wow. By the way, if your mind is already racing with ideas for what you could automate and you're enjoying this video, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I'm always exploring AI tools that can genuinely improve your workflow, and it's a great free way to support the channel. The possibilities here are genuinely endless. Think about it. You could use it for job hunting. Go to LinkedIn, search for remote marketing manager roles posted in the last 24 hours, and save the job title, company, and link to a spreadsheet. Of course, you'd have to be mindful of the terms of service of any website you use this on, but for personal data gathering, it's a superpower. You could automate your shopping, your social media, your research. The core idea is to offload all the repetitive clicking and thinking to the AI, freeing you up to focus on what actually matters. For researchers, this could automate literature reviews. For sales and marketing, it could automate lead generation. It's also a massive accessibility tool, enabling hands-free browsing for users who need it. So, that's the vision for a tool like Nano Browser. It's a private, powerful AI agent that lives in your browser and can turn hours of manual work into a single command. This isn't science fiction anymore. This technology is arriving right now, and it can give you back your most valuable asset, your time. Now, as I said, this perfect all-in-one tool doesn't quite exist yet, but there are a few that are getting very close and are genuinely worth checking out. I'll put links in the description to tools like Multion, Bardeen, and Axiom, which are leading the way in this space. I'm not sponsored by any of them, I'm just a fan of what they're building. This is the future of how we will interact with the web. And now I have a question for you. What is the first repetitive task you would automate with a tool like this? Let me know in the comments below. I always love reading through the ideas. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.